It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for being with us today as we kick off another week of interesting stories, news, and information about what's going on across our four communities on TV, radio, and across the web and social media. We begin today with an unfortunate and a quite disturbing story out of West Bloomfield and nearby Farmington Hills, where residents woke up Saturday morning to some disturbing anti-Semitic materials left on their lawns, both in Farmington Hills and in West Bloomfield. You're seeing a couple of these images on your screen. Bags filled with anti-Semitic flyers and non-hazardous pellets were left in the area of 14 Mile and Farmington Road. Across both our community and in Farmington Hills. This has been confirmed by the West Bloomfield Police Department by our team. In West Bloomfield, over 100 homes were also targeted in addition to those homes in the 14 Mile and Farmington area in Farmington Hills. Security footage from many of those homes captured a dark-colored pickup truck driving through the area around the time that these materials were then dropped off. The police department of course, in West Bloomfield, as in Farmington Hills, strongly condemning these acts in the community as, of course, there are rising tensions due to conflicts across the world that have led to a rise in anti-Semitic statements being made and acts across not only our community but others. Over the weekend as well, on Saturday, a statement was released by the West Bloomfield Police Department stating that on October 5th, around 8 a.m. is when this incident had occurred. The initial investigation revealed over 100 households received these sorts of materials in our community and that they were dropped off around 11:45 p.m. on Friday night, but it's unclear if the truck that we mentioned earlier on, that dark-colored pickup truck, is directly connected to this case or was just happening to be in the area at the time that these were dropped off. In the statement, they said, quote, "The West Bloomfield Police Department strongly condemns hate of any kind and it is actively investigating this situation as a case of ethnic intimidation. If you have any more information on this incident, whether it's some camera footage from your home security cameras in the nearby area or direct information, maybe you witnessed these materials being dropped off yourself, that information can be forwarded to the West Bloomfield Police Department. Call them at 248-975-8934. We have been in contact with the West Bloomfield Police Department. We're doing our best to get them on the program for even more information about this. We have reached out, have not heard back directly just yet about this, but we'll try to get them on today or very soon this week to talk more about what they know about this incident here in West Bloomfield. On a more positive note, earlier on Friday night, some great things happening in our community on the gridiron as the West Bloomfield Lakers snapped that losing streak in the OAA Red Division, picked up their first divisional win of the season in dramatic fashion against the Lake Orion Dragons with an emphatic 49-41 victory over Lake Orion. Joining me now for more analysis on an exciting game we had on Friday night is our color commentator for West Bloomfield Lakers live football coverage on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Matt Gattoni, thanks for being with us.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on, especially happy to have you on after a Laker victory on Friday night, and arguably the most impressive performance of the season, even beyond 2 weeks ago in that shutout against Southfield A&T at home and the opening week shutout against Chippewa Valley. This was unique because it's against some of the best competition in the state.
Yeah, and it was really a game that they needed a lot of things, not just to win, but they needed to show some life on offense, because in a lot of their losses in the OAA Red, specifically against Rochester Adams and Clarkston, we saw the offense kind of disappear in the second half. This week, we obviously did not see that, as they were down 28-14 at one point, and they come back and win this game with, 7 touchdowns at the end of the day. And it was just a phenomenal performance by the offense, and I'm excited to see how they operate going forward, considering how well the passing game and Bo Jackson looked.
Yeah, and Bo Jackson had the game of the season for himself, 10 for 15 passing, 199 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Really the only lone blemish or blemishes that were present in the passing game were a couple of dropped passes on open throws. Really, those were kind of just excitement drops from receivers getting the football, moving a little too early, and it slides out of their hands before they secure the ball. And other than that, for Bo specifically, that one interception that was a pick 6 at the end of the half, the lone blemish for what was otherwise a back-to-back flawless game from number 8.
Yeah, I mean, playing a top 15 team in the state in Lake Orion, you can't ask for a better offensive game. The pass game was efficient and the run game was dominant from start to finish. So it's, again, this week, yeah, they don't necessarily have a chance to win the OAA Red, but they can play spoiler to Oxford this week, who's looking to, if Clarkston loses this week and they beat West Bloomfield at the Swamp, Oxford wins the OAA Red. So it's going to be interesting to see how West Bloomfield tries to come out and play spoiler.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing here is that West Bloomfield won't win the Red outright in 2024, but they can actually win the OAA Red still in this scenario. If Clarkston beats Lake Orion on Friday and West Bloomfield beats Oxford, as you said, then that creates a different situation. Where Oxford beats West Bloomfield, Clarkston beats Lake Orion, Oxford wins the OAA Red outright. However, if West Bloomfield beats Oxford, Lake Orion beats Clarkston on Friday night, we'd have a 5-way tie for the OAA Red Division Championship. And I talked to Eric Pierce over the weekend. He said in the OAA Red Division, and in the OAA in general, there is no tiebreaker in the case of a regular season championship tie. So there's a chance that we could have all 5 teams in the OAA Red be able to claim the regular season championship. But back to what happened on Friday night in that 49-41 victory for the Lakers. Bo Jackson was excellent, but really the player of the game, it was the Josh Tate game out there for him. 27 carries for 205 yards, and as you said, Matt, 4 of those 7 Laker touchdowns.
Yeah, and again, what was on display more than anything was just that his will to just maintain runs and just keeping his legs moving at the point of contact and just keeping those yards or getting those yards after contact. He's the life force of this Lakers offense at this point. And as long as he's able to get things going in the run game to start off the game, I believe that we'll be able to see a more efficient pass game as well going forward off of that.
Yeah, definitely the best rushing game of the season for the Lakers, which has set up their passing game even more. It's a team that really relies on the running game, but they got their playmakers involved. We saw a touchdown from Jaden Allos, a touchdown from Elijah Durham, a couple of big long balls to Elijah Durham also. And then what was really impressive also offensively was getting Cam Flowers involved on the running side and in the air. As you see that long ball pass to Cam Flowers late in the game. He also had 2 carries for 75 yards on the ground, 6 targets, his most of the season, a 2-point conversion reception. This was a huge game and a much needed big game for Cameron Flowers, who hasn't been too involved in the offense so far this season for a number of reasons.
Yeah, Cam Flowers was a player who last year was a tremendous player and had a huge impact on this team, or on that team that went to the state semis. This year, we haven't necessarily made the impact that he or anyone necessarily would want to see. But last week, we saw him get the most, or see the most targets that he's seen all year. And we saw the talent that he has as a player. And that's considering, those 2 plays where those drop passes, where one of them he for sure likely would have had a touchdown. But there's a lot there on the table for Cam Flowers. And I think if the Lakers are able to get him going, not just in the pass game, but the run game, that we'll see this offense kind of take that next step up.
Yeah, Cam Flowers had 127 all-purpose yards on Friday against Lake Orion. Came into the game with less than 100 all-purpose yards on the entire season, which is crazy to think about for a guy that led the team in those all-purpose yards offensively in 2023. So a huge game for him. Josh Tate, his 4 touchdowns against Lake Orion, doubled his season total coming in to that game on Friday night. But really what came down to for the Lakers, look, they gave up 41 points, but this defense played excellently as well, and especially at the point of attack and the point of contact.
Yeah, really, they were a very aggressive defensive and special teams unit this past week. They were flying to the football, and that's ultimately what got them back into the game. They scored the touchdown to make it a 28-21 game, and then we saw them fly down there on special teams and force a fumble to get them right back into the game. And that's one thing that throughout this season that we've seen from the defense and the special teams is just flying to the football and forcing turnovers.
Yeah, they had a few of those. Kylo Dickerson forced a fumble on a kickoff return. That was at a really consequential point. The Lakers coming out of the half, having given up a touchdown to Lake Orion, then scored one themselves to make it a 28-21 ball game. That forced fumble on the kickoff return for Lake Orion set West Bloomfield up deep in Dragon territory. They were able to tie the game, and that was the last time that game would be tied in this matchup, or at least not be in West Bloomfield's favor the rest of the way. Also, a Kalik Robinson interception in the fourth really sealed the game for the Lakers, led to that final touchdown to put them up. To put them with 49 points on the board. And even though Lake Orion got one further touchdown and a 2-point conversion attempt that was unsuccessful, wasn't going to be enough to put them in range to beat the Lakers. And Will Espy with a huge hit also in the fourth quarter, although he was penalized for it, maybe too hard of a hit. But now we got the toughest task of them all coming in this week. This one's going to be a really huge matchup because it has OAA red implications and it has playoff implications. Oxford coming in this week off of a really impressive win, 18-17 versus Adams last week.
Yeah, Oxford's coming in off of a win. They're feeling very well. And there's one thing that they do especially well, and the Lakers have struggled to an extent these matchups, and that's run the football. So with a lot on the line for Oxford this week, it's going to be interesting to see how the Lakers defense comes out and kind of counters that physicality of the Oxford offense, knowing that it's also their last home game and their best chance to punch their ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, that is certainly going to be the case. The Lakers struggling on the road, yet to win a road game in 2024, and they got a couple of tough opponents to close out the season. Birmingham, Seaholm, and Roseville, their last two games. But first, they got to get through Jack Hendricks, Luke Johnson, and these Wildcats in the Big Blue trap game on Friday night. Hendricks last week, unbelievable, 12 for 18 passing, 212 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. And Luke Johnson also with over 100 yards of offense and a touchdown, and defensively, 15 tackles against a very tough Adams offense, although they were without their star quarterback in Rhino Waters. Matt, before we let you go, any final thoughts from this game on Friday night and what the Lakers need to take out of this win to, A, stay confident, but also keep focused on a really tough final 3 games this regular season?
I think the biggest thing that we saw on Friday was the Lakers kind of settle into their identity on offense, a bit more refine their identity on offense. And I think going forward, that is going to be crucial as they play these stretch of teams with explosive offensive, especially Roseville. So that's going to be huge going forward. And I think if they can maintain the efficiency that they've seen from Bo Jackson, they can make some noise.
Well, we appreciate your time, Matt, in this analysis after an exciting win on Friday night, hoping for a very similarly exciting game this coming Friday as Oxford comes in for the OAA regular season finale and what could set up an historic moment in this titan of a division here in the state of Michigan. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
Laker football is always live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Follow along with us throughout the season, including with This Week in Laker Football, each and every week on civiccentertv.com/Lakersports. And you can always watch the games on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15, on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield School District at West Bloomfield Schools, and on our YouTube page at Civic Center TV. Apropos, as we are celebrating National Coaches Day over the weekend, October 6th, Sunday being National Coaches Day and National Sports Day, celebrating coaches at all different levels across our 4 communities, whether it's our parent volunteers coaching those rec league teams, Pee Wee football, Little League baseball, and softball, and every other sport across the board, or it's those elementary, middle, high school coaches and college coaches in our communities. We want to give a shout out to all of you as we celebrate this occasion, and the West Bloomfield School District wants to hear from you at home as well. If you have a coach in your life or in your kid's life who has made an impact on them in the West Bloomfield School District, head on over to facebook.com/West Bloomfield Schools and leave a comment thanking that coach and telling the school district and our community how much of an impact they've had on your family, on your kids, and on our local sports community. One place that we go often for our sports here in our communities are our local parks, including not just West Bloomfield and Kegel Harbor and Sylvan Lake and Orchard Lake parks, but those across our county through Oakland County Parks and Recreation. And among the things you'll see on your November ballot is a proposal involving a millage to continue to support Oakland County Parks. But when you see those millages come up on your ballot proposals, sometimes it can be confusing. You want to know how you can get more information, what this is all about. Here to help clear up some of that information and tell you where you can go to learn more about this millage is one of our Oakland County Commissioners for our 4 communities, Marcia Gershenson, with us on the Splash Live. Marcia, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say we have a coach running for Vice President of the United States.
That is the case. Tim Walz, the Democratic nominee for Vice President, a former football coach and state champion himself over in the state of Minnesota. But close to home here in the Greater West Bloomfield area and across Oakland County, a Parks millage is on the ballot for Oakland County Parks coming up. Give us a little bit of the background on this millage and what is being sought by Oakland County Parks from the public.
I will for sure. Remind me at the end, I do want to give a shout out to the West Bloomfield High School coaches who have had such an impact on so many of our players that are now playing for college ball. But anyway, back to the millage. We have a millage that was introduced a few years ago that's been amazing. And one of the things that we've learned during COVID is that people went to our parks, and our parks were not in the best shape they should have been in. And that's because, and this is a little insider information because I was around 10 years ago, we had a parks commission that was very reluctant to put a millage on the ballot. You know, some people think government should be repairing things or maintaining things without really thinking about, well, where's that money going to come from that they can do that with. And that's where a millage comes in. So we had a new administration, and our Board of Commissioners hired a new chief of parks, Chris Ward. And Chris did an in-depth analysis of all the parks and found out the parks really needed work. And we had been talking about this for 20, 30 years at the commission. And just to explain the infrastructure, I'm on the Board of Commissioners. I'm not a park commissioner. But we do appoint, the Board of Commissioners does appoint parks commissioners, but they run their own budget and they run the parks. Now they do have to come to the board for approval, and the board had to agree to put this millage proposal on the ballot. And that's all the board agrees to, is to put it on the ballot. And we leave it up to the residents to decide if they want to support a different millage.
Right. And that's an important detail in this, is that this millage, should the public vote in the affirmative, would replace the current 0.35 mils to a new 0.65 millage, which would generate approximately $24 million a year for Oakland County Parks over the next 20 years, with that expiring in 2043. That is according to this ballot proposal. Now, Commissioner Gershenson, if this within this proposal, that's a lot of money that would be going toward Oakland County Parks in this case. You mentioned that Chris Ward and the team at Oakland County Parks wanted to put this millage forward for a number of different improvements that they believe need to be made for the parks. Can you give us a list of some of those that they are hoping to potentially be able to address if with this potential millage?
Well, I think one of the reasons that we're having this conversation is because I attended an opening at Arrowhead Park, which is in West Bloomfield, yes, where they had just opened up 2 new bathrooms. Maybe bathrooms don't seem super important to everyone, but for hikers and walkers and bikers, having bathrooms is a big deal. And so when I went to this park, I was flabbergasted by how beautiful the bathrooms were, but also I learned that that park is a connector from South Haven all the way to the west, all the way to the east, Port Huron. There's actually a trail that goes all the way across our state, and it runs through that park. That park is gorgeous, and I highly recommend people go there. But another thing that'll come from the millage is free attendance. We do have free attendance at certain parks, but there will be free attendance at many of the Oakland County parks. Um, all the amenities will be updated, and that's things like roofs and the actual trails, so that they'll be walkable or bike or able to ride a bike. They'll also all be handicap accessible so that everyone can use the parks. There are nature preserves and picnic areas. We also reach out to the schools to have summer camp programs and field trips. Another really important piece of this is that there are parks that are owned and run by local communities. For instance, Oak Park, um, Southfield, they have their own parks. They're not county parks. Many of those communities have not been able to keep up with the maintenance of those parks because of the expense. So one of the things we've done in this last millage is that we've partnered with several of these communities, Pontiac, Oak Park, Southfield, and we've taken some leadership on running the parks and certainly funding the parks. So this is money that will only go to the parks. And I want to answer one other question that has been
Sure.
raised. Why a 20-year millage? Um, Most millages are 10 years. Well, this is a little complicated for me to understand, so I hope I can explain it well,
Sure.
or
Go
you
ahead.
ask me questions. When you are about to do a major renovation in a park and it's several $1 million, a lot of communities and government agencies go out and they bond so that they don't have to come out with the cash out of their pocket right away. They can bond for that expense. You cannot bond unless you have a 20-year millage. So it's more a practical matter that
Ah,
gives the county the ability to bond some of these projects. Because let's say we've got $200 million worth of repairs that we want to do, but we do not have the cash to lay out that money. So that 20-year bond will give us the freedom to bond that and get those repairs done.
And let's not make any
Is that,
mistake. Our
is that
Oakland
clear?
County parks are in fantastic shape overall as it is. They're a great amenity that it's appreciated by not only Greater West Bloomfield, but all of our surrounding communities across the area. But no, this is an important issue for Oakland County parks. It's on the ballot, which means it's an important issue for our voters. So Commissioner Gershenson, who joins us, Marcia Gershenson from the 11th District on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. If voters are looking for more information, they want to read more into this, they want to see more details on what's being proposed here, where can they get more resources so they can make an informed decision when they go to the ballots or when they turn in their ballots for this upcoming election?
Sure. We have the Parks Commission has sent out mailings to every resident in Oakland County, but you can go to oakgov.com and go to the parks um, icon, and they have all the information. You can also call me. Um, I wanted to just add that I'm an avid kayaker, love to kayak, and the new what we've done in some of the parks that have water is that we've actually put in a rental machine where if you don't have a kayak but you want a kayak, you can go to some of these parks, and one is in Pontiac, and this is the new one where there's a machine that you can rent one for however long you do. So that was an exciting um, edition. So anyway, questions really can go to me. They can go to the website, and we're happy to answer any. By the way, your West Bloomfield Parks Commission is exemplary. Not every community is lucky enough to have one. And you've got some park commissioners, I believe, on the ballot too, and they do a great job.
They absolutely do. Our friends over at West Bloomfield Parks, lauded by all four of our communities. They are based in West Bloomfield. They work for West Bloomfield, but inviting to all four of our communities. And you know what? You got to give a shout out too to the great work that's being done by Sylvan Lake and Kegel Harbor Parks and Recreation, also in their tight-knit communities, expanding out to our four communities as well. We really are blessed with great parks here in Greater West Bloomfield, and that expands out to Oakland County. Commissioner Gershenson, appreciate your time as we help our voters make an informed decision coming up in November regarding this millage and other issues. Thank you so much. Any last insights?
Well, thank you for having me anytime.
Appreciate having you on, and always appreciate your advocacy for our four communities. West Bloomfield's Oakland County Commissioner Marcia Gershenson from the 11th District on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. As she said, if you want to make an informed vote in this decision, you want to go and look up more information on this millage proposal from Oakland County Parks, see what's involved in it, get more information, and really go in and dive into this before you vote yes or no, whatever your decision should be in this November election. oakgov.com/parks, and right on that front page of their parks page, you'll get information on that millage. You'll be able to look through their informational flyers and cards, including in multiple languages, as we have a very multicultural community here in Oakland County. Arabic, Chinese, English, and Spanish versions of those cards are available all online, oakgov.com/parks, before you make that decision on this millage. Plenty of fun outdoors outside of our parks and in our local English Gardens coming to our communities, including right here in West Bloomfield. English Gardens Family Fall Fest coming up on October 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at their location on Orchard Lake Road, with plenty of fun activities for the entire family and festive for this fall season. Joining us for more information on this is their event coordinator, Phoebe Holmes from English Gardens of West Bloomfield. Phoebe, thanks for being with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on. Before we kind of get into more of the specifics, give us a general overview of the English Gardens Family Fall Fest, because it's not just happening in West Bloomfield, but many of their locations. What's this all about?
Yeah, it's really just about getting out there with our whole family and creating these fun fall memories. I know fall is finally here. The weather's finally cooling off, so we've got stuff for everyone. Stuff for the kids. We've got sensory bins, free pumpkin painting, and lots of other fall kind of like yard game activities. Stuff for the pets. We have a pet costume contest. So if you've got a furry friend, definitely bring them along, and there'll be a costume contest for them. Cider and donuts, just something for everyone. And this, like you said, yep, it's going to be happening at 4 of our stores: West Bloomfield, Royal Oak, Clinton Township, and Plymouth. And if you've got friends in Dearborn and East Point, we'll have some free pumpkin painting for them as well.
And that's what's great about this, Phoebe, is that there's activities for people of all different ages. It's the Family Fall Fest, but it's not just specifically for parents and their kids. Really, anybody can join in on this. It's some fall fun for really anybody in West Bloomfield.
Right. Yeah. If you have an open day, definitely come on out. There's the stores are fully in fall swing, and so we've got some gorgeous flowers and plants still available too. Just if you want some to do your fall shopping, just with some extra fun too.
And look, it's always more fun when we can get not only the kids involved, but the pets involved also. Especially fun for those social media savvy folks in our 4 communities and beyond. You got a pet costume contest coming up. That's one of the fun features of the English Gardens Family Fall Fest in West Bloomfield and surrounding areas. How can people get involved with that?
Yeah, so you'll just bring your pet all dressed up in costume, and we're going to have a photo booth set up there, and so you can take pictures, and then the actual contest is going to be taking place on our social media, but you just have to snap that picture and submit your pet's photo at the event on October 19th.
Well, I will be conceding that pet that pet costume contest as. My cat's Jackson Idol. They don't even like wearing a collar, let alone a costume. So I'll back out of that, but expect some great costumes from the people of Greater West Bloomfield. Phoebe Holmes is with us, the event coordinator at English Gardens of West Bloomfield. Their Family Fall Fest coming up at West Bloomfield, as well as their Clinton Township, Plymouth, and Royal Oak locations on October 19th, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. More information can be found on EnglishGardens.com. And this is part of getting involved in the community because, English Gardens is a business that runs across many of our communities, but it really does put an emphasis on trying to get involved in each and every one of these locations. How does this factor into that community involvement? And then how does the community involvement factor into the betterment of the business, but also the area that you're operating in?
Right. I mean, English Gardens is a family business. We're currently run by second-generation owners, so that's something we take a lot of pride in. And so we're really just all about getting people from the community involved because the community is what, allows us as a family business to thrive. So just any opportunity to give back, we're trying to make things like this as accessible for everyone. So lots of free events coming up and just kind of something for everyone. So we'd love to see you guys there.
More information, again, EnglishGardens.com. And as part of this fall season, a lot of what happens from a celebration standpoint, from an activity standpoint, really centers around Halloween, maybe the leaves falling, a couple of little pumpkin patches here or there. This kind of combines all three of those into one in the middle of the month. How do you think that this enhances that sort of fall season feel for a community like West Bloomfield?
Right. I mean, I feel like in Michigan, we're so lucky because we have such drastic change in season. So that lets us, fully take advantage of the season that we're in. So with fall, I know most Michiganders love fall and we probably wish it was a little longer. So I think creating these special memories in each season really helps us soak in, all the change and, where we're at in that specific part in our lives. So I know with the kids being, whatever age they're at right now, like really just seeing them get the most out of it and get all those pictures and have those fun memories.
English Gardens Family Fall Fest happening in West Bloomfield Saturday, October 19th. Phoebe Holmes is with us from their West Bloomfield location to tell us more about the festivities. Phoebe, before we let you go, the event is free, but people are encouraged to RSVP beforehand. How can they go about doing that?
Yeah, so if they could head on over to our website, EnglishGardens.com, and just RSVP to let us know you're coming, just so we can be most prepared for you. Like I said, most of the, all of the kids' activities and everything like that is free. Free pumpkin painting, free scavenger hunt for the kids, free cider and donuts. We're even going to have face painters as well for just a slight charge there. But yeah, so definitely RSVP and let us know that we can see you there.
More information and a chance to RSVP on EnglishGardens.com. Phoebe, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you on. Phoebe Holmes with us from English Gardens of West Bloomfield, their Family Fall Fest coming up on October 19th, right here in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road, 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Plenty more to get to right here on The Splash Live. We'll take a break and come back with more live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from Kego Harbor, Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hello, I'm Chief Mike Patton of the West Bloomfield Township Police Department. We're here to say congratulations to Civic Center TV on their 1 million YouTube views here in the community. We enjoy a great partnership with Civic Center TV. They are one of our best community partners. I'm Chief Mike Patton. I'm proud to be one in a million.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for joining us today. If you're just tuning in and you missed most of our show up to this point, you can always find us on demand on civiccentertv.com. Watch us live and on demand as well on Civic Center TV on Facebook, Civic Center TV 15, my apologies, on Facebook, and at Civic Center TV on YouTube each and every day. Also, a place you can go for one of the best things that happens all throughout the fall, West Bloomfield Laker football, always live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Tonight, right next door to us at Chico Elementary School, one final chance to take a walk down memory lane as the West Bloomfield School District prepares to demolish and replace the current building with a brand new facility scheduled to open in 2026. The Chico Farewell will be happening on this Monday evening from 5 p.m. onward, with a chance to walk through the halls of Chico or Green Elementary School, depending on when you went there, one final time and do some exploring and meet some other people, as was explained to us previously on The Splash by the current principal, Blaine McDowell.
For the community, if you are wanting to see some of your favorite teachers, I know that a lot of the teachers will be there, including some of the retired teachers. We will have lots of, pictures and some treats, and just really a time of being together, so that you really can take some pictures if you want. It's not all decorated beautiful like when teachers are there, because it's just like when you move out of a home, it's an empty building, but it is really special to be able to just walk the halls of where you've been. And like for the neighbors that are nearby, like that school has been in their backyard for some of them for as long as they've lived there. So it's really nice to be able to just have that chance to have closure on that building. And really, there will be pictures of what the new building will look like. So if people want to sneak peek, they'll be able to see those pictures as well.
A great opportunity for people to visit Chico one final time, take another walk through, and kind of look back on a key place in their life and in our community over the past decades. It's been in service in the West Bloomfield School District before it ultimately goes away and we move forward with the history of Chico Elementary School, scheduled to open that new location in 2026. Again, the Chico Farewell happening tonight, 5 o'clock, right next door to us at the old Chico Elementary School location right here on Walnut Lake Road, in between Orchard Lake and Farmington in West Bloomfield. In addition to a big transition at Chico, a couple of big anniversaries for some of our local businesses over the past week. Ellen's Bakery and Cafe in Sylvan Lake celebrating 25 years of service to our community, and Shannon's Dance Academy celebrating its 22nd year of its business on Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor. Here's a picture from Ellen's on Orchard Lake Road that they made on Facebook, posting to the community saying, quote, "Thank you from the bottom of our hearts," end quote, for 25 years of patronage, keeping them in business. And then this is Shannon's Dance Academy that's been serving Keego Harbor for almost just that long, 22 years. Shannon Stebor and company over there have been serving the community, bringing the joy of dance to the heart of the lakes. They wrote on their Facebook page, quote, "Thank you, dance families, for all of your support over the years. We sure come a long way and couldn't have done it without you," end quote. You want to follow along and give your congratulations to Ellen's Bakery and Cafe in Sylvan Lake? Facebook.com/Ellen's Bakery and Cafe. And then for Shannon's Dance Academy, you can learn more about them on their website, shannonsdance.com. That's SHANON dance.com. Here close to home in our community, some big programming coming up here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. If you missed the registration window for a really cool conversation happening at Wabeek Country Club on Tuesday between the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Fox 2's Roop Raj, and Crane Communications Casey Crane. We're going to be having that all recorded for you and on demand coming up soon on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. As we call it, live to tape, as they'll talk about the state of the economy, the election, the state of our business communities, small and large, in Greater West Bloomfield, Metro Detroit, and around the state of Michigan, and how that affects you at home watching and listening each and every day. So stay tuned for that. In the next couple of days, we'll have that on our program schedule for you on civiccentertv.com. And earlier on, we talked about another issue on the election this coming November that affects our communities, one that affects you directly at home, the West Bloomfield Library Board and the West Bloomfield School District Board of Education, both of which have candidates on the ballot coming up in November. We'll be partnering with the League of Women Voters on Tuesday for a pair of candidate forums that will also be live to tape, but you can attend live and see them and ask your questions in person for these events. They'll be happening at the I Center at West Bloomfield High School beginning at 6 o'clock with the school board candidate forum, and then finally after that at 7 o'clock, the library board candidate forum will be happening. If you can't attend, we'll have that fully recorded for you and airing on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM over the next several weeks leading up to Election Day, so you can get to know your candidates, get to know their takes on some of the issues affecting our local library system, our local school district, and much more. CivicCenterTV.com, the place to go, or subscribe for free to our YouTube page and hit that bell icon, YouTube at Civic Center TV. You'll get a notification when those are uploaded and be able to see them for yourself. Really important issues happening on our ballot, and then also on our ballot, also with your ballots, an opportunity to vote at a variety of different times, whether it's in person or you want to use early voting. Plenty of opportunities there for you to make that happen. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll discuss some of your options, clear up some of the confusion around early voting and absentee voting and in-person voting, all these different options. So much to consider, so much confusion out there. We'll clear the air with Debbie Binder from West Bloomfield Township. Coming up next, live, local, social. It's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at CivicCenterTV.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Hi, I'm Lauren Azuri, the Park Naturalist Supervisor for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to you, Civic Center TV, for hitting 1 million views on YouTube. We really appreciate your partnership in spreading nature education in a creative way in our community. I'm Lauren Azuri, proud to be 1 in a million.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for joining us today. We got so much going on in our community, from the election and all the fall fun and so much more, but it's also Fire Prevention Week here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, and with that comes the annual Fire Department Open House at Fire Station number 1 in West Bloomfield, a chance for you to get some safety questions answered and see some demonstrations from our great West Bloomfield Fire Department. Kevin McIntosh from our team had a chance to preview the event, talking to our local fire marshal, Byron Turnquist. Here's their conversation.
Sunday, October 13th, begins at noon and ends at 3. There's plenty of parking at the West Bloomfield High School and Parks and Rec. We've partnered with them over the last several years. has coordinated giving us a shuttle so that it's easy to get your family from the high school up to the fire station for the event.
Nice. Okay. Very convenient and considerate right there. So what are some of the, let's just get into some generics of it. What are some important fire safety tips West Bloomfield residents should know and keep in mind, especially going into these colder months?
The most important thing that we can recommend is have working smoke alarms throughout your entire home. Your smoke alarms should be, if they're older than 10 years old, they need to be replaced. We've gotten away from the change your battery every 6 months. The newer smoke alarms that are being produced and are available for everyone have a 10-year battery. But it's very important if that smoke alarm is more than 10 years old that you replace it. They lose their sensitivity, they don't work as designed, and you need those things properly installed throughout your home to give you that early warning in case there is a fire, to give you as much time as possible to get out.
I'm going to be honest with you, Fire Marshal. I'm surprised 10 years. I feel like that's too long. 10 years max, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try to change it even sooner than that just to be proactive. But that sounds like pretty much common sense, but I see that's something that we have to remind people of consistently. That was even on the Facebook page of the fire department I saw earlier. So going back to this open house, Fire Marshal Turnquist, what types of activities and demonstrations do we have planned and that you feel like will have the biggest impact for families?
Well, some of the fun things for all the children is obviously seeing the fire trucks up close, getting to meet some of your firefighter paramedics in the township. But there's some hands-on demonstrations. This year, we're going to be, the EMS division is going to work on a hands-on CPR quick trainer to give people an idea and a better understanding of just how to do hands-only CPR. The tech rescue team and the hazmat team will be on site and have some demonstrations for us. And one of the fan favorites and typical things that we do every year is we do an extrication demonstration. We get a car from the salvage yard that we're able to cut up, and people can see how the jaws of life work and you know, some of the tools that people don't get to see every day from your fire department.
And you know what? I think it's a great opportunity for people to understand that the job of our firefighters and in the system that they work within isn't as simple as they think. It's not just go to a fire, put it out, go back and have these days and we just wait for the next fire. There's a lot going on with that and they're risking their lives. So I love to add that perspective in there too. Join us right here on The Splash from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Fire Marshal Byron Turnquist, talking about the upcoming open house from the fire department October 13th as well. Now I see that we will also be featuring, correct me if I'm wrong, Sparky the fire dog will be there, also a good well-known figure for the community and for the kids. But how do you feel like mascots and even these interactive activities help engage children to learn about fire safety education?
Well, we try to make it fun and make the event fun for the entire family, and we sneak in the fire safety message. Whether it's planning your exit from your home, knowing that you have 2 ways out of every room, to developing or setting that family meeting place outside. So if the smoke alarms go off and your family knows that they need to exit the home, where do they go? You know, everybody needs to go to the mailbox or the tree in the front yard. And keep in mind when you're picking that place that it's not right at the street where the fire trucks and firefighters are going to be arriving. You want to have that a safe distance or a safe place where you can meet and that you know where everybody is and that everybody got out of the home. And when we arrive on scene, you can say, yep, everybody's out of the house, or no, my husband is in the upstairs bedroom, and you can identify exactly where that window is so that we can effectively perform a rescue.
See, we've mentioned that a few times here on this show, but you can never mention it too many times because not everyone actually listens to that. It's actually important to have that plan in place for your household and your family. Yes, we don't want that to happen, but worst case scenario, always prepare for that just in case. Now, I see that we are also, the fire department is also collaborating, Alana's Foundation, if I said that right, offering flu shots at this event. How does the fire department see the connection between promoting public safety and public health?
Well, it's a huge part of public health or public safety. They do go hand in hand. We've had a great partnership with the Alanis Foundation. And if you're interested in getting a flu shot, make sure you bring your insurance card. There'll be a quick registration process, and they'll be able to give you a flu shot right here on site.
Great information. Any other key information for residents about this event, about fire safety, or anything else before we let you go?
No, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we have another beautiful day. The weather's been nice so far, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the 13th.
All right, sounds good. Sunday, October 13th, 12 noon, 3 p.m., Fire Station 1 on Orchard Lake Road north of West Bloomfield High School. From the West Bloomfield Fire Department Fire Marshal, Byron Turnquist, we appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Always glad to talk to the West Bloomfield Fire Department. We'll have plenty of opportunity to do that coming up on Sunday this week from 12 noon to 3 p.m. at Fire Station number 1 in West Bloomfield for their annual Fire Department Open House. Stay tuned on CivicCenterTV.com as well as on our TV and radio stations for more of our coverage from this year's Fire Department Open House coming up this weekend. Free to attend. You can park at West Bloomfield High School and then either walk or take the free shuttle up to Fire Station number 1, just about a block north of the high school. It's also election season, as we told you earlier on. This time of the year, people are starting to think about how they're going to vote come November, whether it's in-person voting, absentee voting, or going to your local early voting center. So many different options to have your voice heard in this critical election we have coming up in just a few weeks. Joining us for more on the Splash Live to talk about your options for voting in this upcoming election is West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder. Debbie, thank you for being with us. Happy to have you on the program today as we talk about this upcoming election. And right now is about the time where people that are going to be getting their votes in early, whether they're mailing them in or they're going to go to early voting here in the next few weeks, they're starting to make those decisions. And so as they make their decisions on the candidates and on the issues, we got to let them know what their options are for voting. Early voting, one of those that's gaining a lot of steam, but also a lot of confusion as of late.
I think there has been some confusion about the difference between early voting and absentee voting. And early voting is an option that is more recently available. Absentee voting has been available for a while, where a person may vote an absentee ballot, turn it in, and previously it was only counted on election day. One of the myths that does seem to have gone away is that the absentee ballots are only counted if they're needed. And we reassure everybody that all absentee ballots are counted. But now people have an option to participate in early voting, which is when they actually will fill out their ballot and vote it, run it through the tabulator 9 days before the election. It actually begins the second Saturday before the election and runs through the Sunday before the election. So it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday through Friday, then Saturday and Sunday, with daily hours of 8:30 to 4:30 and Thursdays noon to 8. Our early voting center is right over at the West Bloomfield Public Library on the main campus. We have been very fortunate that Lisa Brown organized a program for the local clerks that they're running the early voting for us. So it has made it a lot easier for us to share the expense of the staffing, and also having the county spend the money on the equipment to have those early voting centers. There are 19 around the Oakland County, as well as one that anybody in Oakland County can go vote in. Our early voting center is for voters in West Bloomfield Township, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake. And anyone in there may participate in early voting by going to the West Bloomfield Main Library. Another thing people don't realize right now is you can actually bring your absentee ballot to an early voting center or to your precinct on election day, meaning you can vote it ahead of time if you're one who likes to sit down in a leisurely pace at your kitchen table or whatever and vote. You can fill out your ballot and then bring it to your early voting center or your precinct to cast it through the tabulator yourself. An advantage of turning in your absentee ballot at early voting or in your precinct is if you were to make some kind of a mistake on your ballot. Let's say you voted for too many choices for one of the contests, or like an example would be in an August primary, if you had crossed parties, the machine will kick it back to you and you will get a chance to spoil that ballot and request a new one. And you get a chance to correct that mistake, where if you had cast that ballot as an absentee ballot and there's no voter to correct a mistake, then that ballot would there would be a determination made by a bipartisan team to cast that ballot as is. So it just gives you a second chance, if you did make a mistake, to get that feedback and spoil the ballot. It is an option for people to go for early voting, but they may also request an absentee ballot up to 4 p.m. the Monday before the election. That 4 p.m. is a hard stop. It is a statutory stop. So at 4:01, I cannot hand somebody an absentee ballot, because after 4, we're getting the electronic poll book together to show people who are in the precinct on election day who has already been issued an absentee ballot and who has not. So that deadline is important, but people do have options. And then if for whatever reason they miss early voting, or they miss, requesting their absentee ballot, there is always the option of going to your precinct on election day and voting in the polls. Which reminds me, one of the reasons.
So this time of the year, because we have so many options, and there are so many different options, not only with early voting versus in-person voting on the day of the election versus absentee voting by mail or by turning it in. There's so many different ways to get your voice heard, to have your ballot submitted for your one voice and your one vote in this upcoming election, that often this time of the year especially, we start to see some misconceptions come out there, some confusion that gets out there that leads to some misinformation in the community about our voting. What are some of those common misconceptions that we're starting to hear right now that you may be able to clear up about early voting and absentee voting?
I think there's more the confusion. People don't realize that well, one, they don't realize that they can bring that absentee ballot to the early voting center, and I think that that's a lot of confusion. And there are just occasionally people that don't understand. So I don't know if we've seen the misconceptions as much. I would say the misconception that we have seen so far recently is people who want to come to the township to sign up to be an election challenger, and that's not a function of working in a precinct on election day. Our election inspectors are there to serve. Now, there is representation of multiple parties in a precinct. However, there is a mechanic to ensure that the election is run smoothly, not to be there and be as an election challenger. So somehow some information got out that they would sign up at the clerk's office to be an election challenger, and that is a very different role. So that's not something that they would sign up through the clerk's office. Our election inspectors are there to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that the precinct is run smoothly on election day.
So to clarify, election inspectors, who are the workers that are working in our precincts and in our voting center at the West Bloomfield Town Hall, those are applied for through the township clerk's office. If someone wants to be an election challenger, that is their right, but that I would assume then that is through the state of Michigan, through the Secretary of State.
It's actually they would contact the organization. So the organization now, any organization that is approved, or the parties always have approval, does have to obtain a credential through Oakland County. So they have received that credential through the county, and then they would contact the organization to be a challenger, and they would go to the precinct and check in with the chairperson and be handed a badge that says challenger. But they would be based from an approved organization or issue that is requested challenger status.
More information on michigan.gov/vote. If you want to be an election challenger and learn more about that opportunity, you can learn more about that there. And of course, if you have any questions about our local elections, you can contact the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office or your local clerk in Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, and Sylvan Lake. Debbie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Tyler. You have a great day. Thanks.
You as well. An important time in our community as we get ready for a very consequential election. It always is. Anytime there is an election, it's consequential. It always seems that it's a really big day, and there's a lot of attention, a lot of information flowing around when it comes to our presidential and our gubernatorial elections. So when November 5th comes around, we're going to help you make sure you're informed from people on the inside who understand this information and can give you the info you need and lead you to the info that you can use to make informed decisions and understand our voting processes too, so that we all can be comfortable come November 5th when we head to the polls, or beforehand when we send our votes in to our local clerk's office. Just like that, we're out of time on this Monday edition of the Splash Live. We thank you for tuning in, and of course, thank all of our guests for joining us for more insight and information about all the great things happening across our 4 communities. We'll continue to keep your news and information close to home all throughout the week. Big thank you to Kevin McIntosh and Calvin Brown at Master Control. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft, thanking you for tuning in to the Splash Live.